Where are we? There are 3, 4, 5 types of educational institution when we come to theological education. First is a college or a seminary or a training center sponsored by person, family, single congregation. There are theological institutions in India sponsored just by one person, but just by a family, just by a single congregation. This mostly comes from South Korea, from USA, and from Australia. These sponsored emphasize on church planting, soul winning, so it is evangelism. They aggressively advocate for evangelism, this kind of seminary. So the curriculum that is mandated in that kind of institution is limited to soul winning and evangelism. The second types of theological education here in India is non-denominational seminaries. These are owned by jealous evangelistic groups, not an individual but a groups, a revival group or a prayer group. So this honor, this sponsor, they uphold traditional concepts. They don't want to change. They uphold traditional concepts and they aim to Christianize others, considering the rest as paganism. So, in their approach, they are not inclusive, but as they try to defend themselves, they even studied about others and they condemn others. The third theological seminary is a particular denomination-sponsored college. One denomination-sponsored college. These colleges are mostly established during missionary era. They were connected with the mother church, mostly in the West. They sought for affiliation or accreditation, but they maintain denomination mandate curricular offerings. I'm afraid we fall under this context. I'm afraid we tend to fall under this. I'm afraid we, the visionary board members, tend to fall under this category. The fourth is ecumenical united or ecumenical union sponsored colleges. The best example to mention as ecumenical union is Church of South India, Church of North India. This sponsored church, they are related to ecumenical theological networks. They don't relate only to India but to the whole ecumenical body. The fifth theological education in India are under state university. Theological education under state university. The nearest for us will be NECU, Northeast Christian University. Also in Meghalaya, Martin Luther Christian University. These are state university which also gives theological education. These are the happenings. these are the happenings which I categorize it into five theological educational schools. Where are we? Where are we? Are we still in missionary era? That's the big question I would like to put. Are we trained only for soul winning? Are we studying theology only for evangelism? Where your church members are social scientists, where your members are doctors, medical scientists, are you trained only for evangelism? Then you will not be relevant anymore. You will not have answer for your members. So traditionally, the purpose of theological educations were conversion or to plant church, to train leaders, contextualization of theological education with ecumenical vision. These are the traditional concepts, purpose to be trying to meet the demands of the time. What are the challenges facing today as a theological students and as a theological institution? What are the challenges facing today? We need a radical shift in theological education from church or denominational leaders to nations building leaders or builders. I hope you're getting this. We need to change from being church or denominational leaders to a nation's building or a builders. Way back, if you remember, Martin Luther King Jr., a Baptist minister who was assassinated and martyred for social cause of the black, is almost 400, 500 years now. We are far behind the rest of the black theology. 405 years for 405 years. We are too slow. We are too slow. We are far behind. People already died for that cause 405 years ago. What is the suffering of the churches now? What is the problems of our church? What is the problem of your church? The problem facing by our church and by our church members are unemployment, globalization. It is the globalization that made you think that you are poor. In fact, you are not poor. You have everything. You have vegetables, resources, land resources. You have everything, but you think poor because of globalization. Is the globalization that globalized your mind? Oh, I don't have vehicles, so I'm poor. Why do you think that it is the globalization? This is the problem facing by the church members today. Climate justice. Climate justice. This fierce weather is not a problem for the rich, but for the poor. This change of weather, climate, is a problem for the poor. We need justice. Climate justice is the demand of the hour. Migration. Right now, what is happening in Indo-Myanmar border and Kuki-Meitei, it's all a problem of migration. The members are dying of this cause, facing this problem of migration, and the church has nothing to say. Then, where is God? Where is your theological understanding? If you don't have answer for this, which means that your theological education is not relevant anymore. We don't need to spend money for this. Religious fundamentalism. It is the religious politics and the religious fundamentalism of the Hindus in India that the minorities are persecuted. It is the religious fundamentalism. And violence against minority. We are the minorities. What can we say as Nagas in Manipur when we are minorities, when we live under Meiteis? Urban-rural division. Even the church in a village trying and wanting to have bolero vehicle. Isn't this a challenge? When they actually don't need much. Urban-rural. They try to copy the urban life. My Tamenglong village trying to, have all the helps of Immanuel Baptist Church here in my town. Why? It is the mind of urban and rural. We cannot differentiate this. And it is the West theology that imposed on us, the rural, the poor citizens, this understanding that you will be rich if you become Christians, which means poor is condemned in the teaching of Christianity, which is wrong. This is urban-rural theological understanding. We need to fight and face this problem. Corruption in public life. These are all the problems and issues facing. And we as Christian ministers, we should be trained to answer all this. We should be the answer to this. Theological education should contribute to solving those nations' problems. These are all nations' problems. And you should be a nation builders as Christian minister. Theological education should be committed to justice. 80% of Jesus' teachings are on justice. Are we forgetting his teaching on people's liberation, nations building? I hope my students do not misread me when I say nations building. I'm not encouraging you to participate in IM in Zoom. No. As Christian ministers, you can be a nation builders. Wesley Arya Raja, I remember his writing, observation is right when he says the context of theological education in Asia is yet to emerge. What an enlightenment. Theology should be developed from its own people. We are following Western theology. We are still following Western theology. Their experiences is different from us, and they develop from their experiences. And when we are following this for 100 years, when we talk about Zhelengrong context, for 100 years we have been following Western theology. The Asians as a whole, as Wesley says, need to develop theology from its own experiences. So we still need Asian theology. Asian theology is the need of the hour. Yes, we are yet to come up with authentic content of Asian theology. I want to put this as my language. I'm putting this Araraza quotation into my own language. Yes, we are yet to come up with authentic content of Asian theology. Unless we develop our own theology, we will not be able to understand God in our experiences. You are and we are, for the last 100 years, we are trying to understand God from Western lens, from the Western understanding, where they don't eat kui, where they don't eat guro. Unless we develop theology from our own experiences, then God will not be, as good. We need to develop our own theology. We need to understand God from our own experiences. What is theology? I'm so sorry, I always tend to speak short, but I'm so excited and I'm taking so much time. What is theology? Studying about God. For your kids, for my kids, they access through the internet and they learn so much about many gods now, even more than you know. They have come across a debate of Muslim and Christians, and sometimes they will be convinced, I come across one auto rickshaw driver. He talked to me, he told me, I think of all the religion, Muslims and Christians are the closest. See, that's how people, our members, learn so much about gods, so much gods. If you are trying to understand God from Christian texts only, if you are trying to understand God from the Bible only, you are trying to look at God from only one window, from only one lens. That is why theological understanding, theological institutions like us have religion teacher. He will teach you Buddhist, he will teach you Jain, he will teach you Muslims, Islam, whatever. Trying to look God from every books, and ultimately it will lead you to the only God, Jesus Christ. That is called theology. Don't limit yourself in your approach to understand God. If you try to reach God only from the Bible, when people started to ask you from Gita, you will not know. Trying to know God from different windows, from different lens is important. That is why we are moving towards this affiliation.